Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching. The channel's called Ratchet. My name's Andrew, and coming up on this episode, I pretend to be a worm, I wear a new hat, and I try not to ruin my car. Welcome back to the channel, or if you are new, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button below so you don't miss any future installments. On today's episode, I'm going to be chopping out the old dropped floor. So let's crack on with that. No going back now. Now I've exposed the interior down to its guts, there are a couple of bits that do need sorting out. So let me show you what they are. So these two rubber pipes feed the heater under the dash. And what you'll see, no grommets. So that's a recipe for chafage. So what I need to do to start with is drain the coolant down, pull these pipes back through and make good this. Let me show you the two pipes that I'm dealing with. This is number one, nice and easy to get to. And then this second one is just tucked down behind those HT leads, which I'm able to get from inside. So there you go. Pipes run back through the bulkhead. And if we come in, I'm sorry, but that's not for me. So let me show you what's going on inside now. I've had a bit of a think and trying to put together a bit of plan of action. So the first bits on the interior that I need to get sorted out are the moving of these hard brake lines that run along this piece of chassis. What my plan is, it's easier to show you on the passenger side, is to panel out these pieces, which will then allow me to run the carpet around far nicer on the floor and on the firewall. You can see where I've removed the previous steering column cover, and that's pretty rough. Well, I've got a solution coming, so I'll be able to update you soon when that arrives in the post. All I wanted to do was rerun the positions of the hard lines, which I have done, and I'm much happier with how they've turned out. If I was running them from scratch, then I could, you know, really obsess about absolutely everything. So before I could clip in the bottom run of brake line, I had to work out where I wanted to put my cross braces for the seat bars before I could then cut the small pockets that the box is going to sit in and give me space to then weld around. What I needed to do was cut 5mm along the bottom edge of the panelling, which will then let me slide in my new sheet underneath and then give me welding space so I can stitch along to weld the new floor in place, because I'm going to make it out of mild steel and not aluminium. So I've got the cross braces cut and prepped ready for welding, got them in position, so it's time to start welding. I've got myself a floor. There is a sheet of 14 gauge mild steel. What I'm going to do is get the sheet roughed out into size and then try and offer it up underneath the car.
A few moments later.
What do you know? I have got a floor temporarily in place. And the only reason I'm doing this is to know where to put my weld through primer. So I'll just score the positions of the rails, drop down the plate, literally spray the stripes. The last thing I did was, underneath the car, carried out any final prep of the chassis in readiness to start welding in the new floor pan. I also gave the underside of any exposed steel a coat of weld-through primer, because I won't be able to obviously reach any of those bits once the pan's in. So now all that's done, I can get the floor pan into position and very possibly start to weld it. So I've given the floor a clean up, gave it a hoover and a wipe down with some panel wipes. So now what I'm going to do now is shoot it with some zinc primer. The floor is primed. I'm quite happy with how it's turned out. What you'll also see is I've fabricated up the seat mounting tabs. I've welded onto the underside nuts, so it literally is just a matter of dropping a bolt through the seat and then doing them up to the tabs, not having to worry about trying to get a spanner underneath, which would be near impossible. So that's how the floor's shaped up. So I'm chuffed with that. And the next thing I'm going to be moving on to is dealing with where the column comes through the firewall. So I'm looking forward to actually cracking on with that and getting a far nicer solution put into place. I've been waiting for a few little bits and pieces to turn up in the post. So that has let me progress the floor, and you'll see it's sound deadened. I'm using a product called Noiko. Picked it up off eBay. Bulk pack of 36 square foot. I think it's about £60. So it's under half, well, just under half the price of Dynamat. I've used Dynamat Extreme before in previous cars. I've used flashing tape in other cars. So I thought I'd try this mid-ground just to see how I get on with it. It seems to go down nice, not quite as sticky as Dynamat, but giving it the old knock test, sounds pretty decent. I have also given the seat tabs a little dusting over with some gloss black paint, because when the carpet's installed and cut around, those will be visible. On the driver's side footwell firewall, you'll be able to see that the holes there are no longer. I welded those up and gave that piece a lick of gloss black again. Likewise with the passenger side footwell, any redundant holes that I didn't need were welded up and made good. What else has been going on? Oh, you will possibly recall coolant pipe gate. I've decided not to have a physical heater as such in the car. I only ever use this car in, well, sunny, dry weather. So me actually needing a heater, slim to none. So it will now just be used as a cold air blower, basically. Yeah, I honestly don't think I'll ever need to be any warmer than I am when the engine's sat 6 inches from my head. You know, I've got the coolant, got the radiator pipes running through the centre tunnel. Even with all the insulation that I'm going to put in, I'm sure there's still going to be some sort of heat soak. So I don't think I'm ever going to need to make myself warmer. So I can now make good that guy by patching it over, get something nice made up for that. But it will mean that along this side, I can do a really nice low profile cover for the brake line pipes, which will allow me to then have the exposed linkage, which is what I wanted. So moving on to where the steering column comes through, what I did do was cut out all of the bad, making sure I removed all of the old rivet holes, because I wanted to end up with a nice clean regularized shape to then start making my pattern, which you will see in place, just held in with a couple of clecos. You can see that the universal joint slightly projects through the firewall, so I needed quite a large grommet with some depth to it for that UJ to slightly sit in. So this is a boat cable grommet. So that should be installed in front. It'll allow the column to come through. Yeah, just need to put some adhesive on the back side, get it riveted in, and then that is that. Hopefully job done. So that basically wraps up this episode, which I think has been pretty productive. Getting the old floor cut out, new crossbars welded in, getting the new floor welded in, finally deciding what I'm going to do with those heater hoses and whatever else I did. If you like what you have seen, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button below so you don't miss any future episodes. You can go back and catch the previous episodes that I've released. I will catch you next time. Let's see if it fits.